Thank you, Mary. You know, the interesting part is in today's Mary's talk, as she was explaining that do not go in silo, do not do big migration, do not do big refactor. And I was like, oh shit, that's exactly what we did. And that's exactly what my talk is about. It's morning. Good morning, Berlin. Before I begin, I actually request all of you to give a huge round of applause for LeadDev. What an amazing community and what an amazing platform. I love it. Now, today's talk is actually special to me for millions of reasons, but I'll give you 3. So the very first reason, yesterday Mary mentioned that it's harder to get into LeadDev than into Harvard. Now, I have never applied to Harvard, but I have applied to LeadDev, not once, twice, but 3 times, and gotten rejected. So this is my 4th lucky charm. 4 number is my lucky number today. Second, I'm coming from Singapore, so I made a Euro trip out of it. I have been in Europe for about 2 weeks now. And the second day of me landing in Europe, I spoiled the only laptop I had to prepare my presentation. So the slides that you're going to see today are actually prepared in really old school ways in public and national libraries of different cities in Austria. So I hope you have fun listening to me as much as I had preparing them. And the last one, and it's a very special to me because my husband is in the audience and who's listening to me live for the very first time in a professional setup. Personally, he listens to me all the time. Okay, so we heard a lot about tech debts today, right? How we ensure that we continuously pay tech debts. But let's be real. Who has ever continuously paid tech debt ever? The answer, we all know. No one. Really, no one, because that's an ideal scenario. Now we, the engineers and the organizations, we are in a perpetual state of everything is fine until it isn't. So today's story is actually also going to be along the same lines when things were not fine and what me and my team did, very conflicting to what Mary shared and how we succeeded in achieving that migration. So the story is about a company called Grab. Now, those of you who don't know, the easiest way to explain is actually Uber of Southeast Asia with added financial services. It's a great product. If you ever visit Southeast Asia, please use our product. And Grab Unlimited is actually a paid loyalty subscription program. Again, using Uber example, just like Uber One. So basically, a user can pay and purchase the subscription program, use the benefits across the services, renew it, cancel it, just like how you would use any typical subscription program. So the story that I'm going to share today is how we migrated this product called Grab Unlimited from legacy to something brand new called temporal. The story begins in 2022. We all have that legacy system that we take over, right? So we took over a legacy system early 2022. Really just designed to deliver the MVP product. But what happens? If it works, we keep on adding functional objectives to it, right? Without really scaling our systems too well. Business grows, the numbers look good, everything is happy, functional objectives are met, but stability objectives really go down the hill, right? We have seen that happening. What happens in this case? The 3 key elements of any product. The end users. They are really unhappy. They are paying for a subscription program but not able to use the benefits. They have the benefits, something else is going wrong. It impacts business. Your business stakeholders are not happy. And the last but not the least, your engineers are not happy. We were spending a lot of time in on calls, getting paged over middle of the nights, over the weekends, debugging and mitigating incidents for our systems. And we actually spent weeks and months into writing postmortems. I really wish we had heard about incident.io, but back then we could have saved all the time into writing postmortems. It wasn't a plugin. This is a genuine call. So just to give you a reference, subscribers, that means the number of users who have purchased our subscription program, as the number of subscribers were increasing, you can see our number of incidents was actually competing against that number. It exponentially increased. Now, some people might be like, Renu, what the hell was wrong? Why did you even do that? Just like we learned today, sometimes it's the business call. Sometimes it's the right thing to do. You experiment and you learn what works for your user. You don't know that it will not work, right? And in terms of our system, what was going wrong? You know, everything that we ask our candidates into our interview, We were failing along all those dimensions. Lack of idempotency. Our system was not idempotent. Our system was actually failing across a lot of downstream failure points. Poor concurrency. You try to do too many things in the same system. Oops, failure. TLDR, we were failing the same set of interview questions that we ask our candidates. We were unnecessarily trying to make it hard. Okay, let's fix it. And by fix it means, let's fix it for good. We were patching things along the way. It worked for a while until it didn't. But once again, as I mentioned, this is a real story. We're going to live in a real world. Let's be real. No company will ever come to you and say that, you know what, take 6 to 8 months, or 12 months, or 24 months, and do good with your systems. Bring us back like a really stable and scalable system. It doesn't sound familiar because it isn't. That's not how it happens. Business continuity, it's actually a real constraint. You must continue to deliver business objectives. Do more with less. We heard that a lot, right? Limited resources, constant complaint. You can hear from any engineering manager, more so specifically from product managers, actually, that we need more people. We need more engineers. You always have limited resources. Timeline. We all know it. We learned yesterday estimations around probabilities, but usually when we ask about timeline, it's like, yeah, it should have been yesterday. Yeah, it should have been a year before, right? So when you have to sustain the business continuity, the timeline, you cannot take 8 months, 10 months, 24 months, right? You cannot take that long. So timeline is a big constraint. It needs to happen over a short period of time. Now, when you are operating under these constraints, you will be like, okay, let's plan for it. Let's plan across all the basic aspects of how a planning should be done. So in addition to how a usual project planning should be done, I'm going to share 3 principles with you that really work for us. The first one, ruthless, ruthless, and ruthless prioritization, and it's not a typo. We heard in our wonderful keynote speaking session yesterday that how important is ruthless prioritization. But you may ask, Renu, what exactly it is? We prioritize all the time. Let me give you an example. The Grab Unlimited subscription product that I talked about, it's a complex backend system logic. Cherry on the top, really missing comprehensive test suite. You do not have a good set of test cases. So what are you doing? You are manually creating them, and you are spending a lot of time into testing. What could be the solution? You actually have an automated backend test suite. It allows you to scale. It allows you to test faster and actually deliver a quality experience to your user. Now, who in their right mind will say no to this? No one, because it's a must-have thing. This is how things should happen. But we had to say no to this. Why? Because there were many other things that we needed to deal with first before we could get into this. So if I were to tell you a ruthless prioritization is that if you have 10 must-haves, we are not even talking about good-to-haves, 10 must-haves, ask yourself, what is that one thing that you need today? And that is your priority. Everything else is not. Identify cutoff. What do I mean by that? So a long-term fix usually entails redesign, refactor, new system. And the business must continue. So everything actually you do on the legacy system must happen on the new system as well. Double the effort in developing, in testing, and in maintaining. So what we did is we identified a cutoff. We worked with our business and product stakeholders to say that after this point of time, the features or the functional initiatives will only be implemented in the new system. It comes with a risk, but you have to take it. Now, for us, luckily, the timeline was not 12 months. It was 6 to 7 months, including the Christmas holidays. So the threshold that we align with our business stakeholders is that starting Feb 2024 is when all new features will go into the new system. The planning and everything started somewhere September 2023. The last one. And this is my favorite one because it goes everything against what Mary mentioned yesterday, but that's what engineering is about. It is about adapting to what your business needs, what your team needs. We had a team of 6 backend engineers and 2 QA engineers. One option, we allocate 10, 20, 30, 40, some X% of our capacity, and we say that this team will continuously work on fixing these systems for the long term. Benefits, everybody got a skin in the game. Every engineer is aware of the new system. Disadvantage, it actually might take a lot longer than what we go with the option 2. And for us, timeline was a key concern. So what we did something what our great speaker yesterday mentioned, Aman, that you create a tiger team. We basically pulled out 2 engineers, 2 backend engineers, and 1 QA, and we created this focus group, and we said that, you know what, this team, with 100% of their focus and capacity, will work on this new redesign. It actually worked for us, because we managed to deliver. As you will see in the end of the presentation, we managed to deliver the results that we wanted to. So far, you know what the product I'm talking about. You know why we are doing what we are doing, and you know how we have planned for it. So let's go ahead and do it. Design. Now, our objectives were really not rocket science. As mentioned, we were really failing against the basic principles of system design. So our objectives were extremely simple. Our system should be scalable, our system should be resilient, and our system should be idempotent. Sounds really basic, right? As how you will develop any other product or system. So when we went into discussing how do we achieve these objectives, and that is when we had 2 options. One, you go ahead, you refactor your existing system, design it from the scratch, and make sure that these principles are baked in. Or we heard about something called temporal.
If you're enjoying this, LeadDev's got loads more to offer.
I have written some blog posts for the website in the past. I know the recordings from all the conferences are up there. You should definitely check it out.
LeadDev can offer you a variety of things, from blogs, webinars, panels, Slack community which is super supportive.
So make sure you check out leaddev.com.
Give me a cheer who have heard about temporal and are actually using it in production right now. Okay, very few people. Okay, he's forcing him to raise his hand and say that, hey, you are also using it. What is temporal? It was actually founded in 2018. They are based in actually US right now, headquartered in US. And it is not a promotion of temporal. It is a legit use case of how we use them. So this is a workflow orchestration platform. You might ask me, Renu, what the hell is workflow orchestration? Whenever a system involves a lot of states, lot of state management handling, for example, subscription, your subscription can be in purchase state, renewal state, cancel state, your supply chain, what product or what shipment is in what state right now. That is where the workflow might make more sense. It actually provides you a lot of development primitives, so you can develop code faster. You can actually forget about the boilerplate code, make things happen. But the magical thing, at runtime, it's actually fault tolerant, and it is easily scalable to make your system quite resilient. To us, this is like a magical thing, because it actually solves all our problems that we wanted to. But it's engineering. Everything is logical, not magical. Right? So we went actually a step further, and we were like, okay, you know what? Let's compare. If we were to do everything by ourselves versus we use temporal, what would it take? Against our objectives that we earlier mentioned, which is the key aspect of why we were doing everything, development cost. What would it take for us to develop this entire new piece of system? Cloud cost, green ops. How do we make sure that we keep our cloud cost to the minimum? And maintenance cost, because actually the KDLO costs are quite big in industries and sometimes really unspoken for. So once we build this system, what will be the maintenance cost for us? During comparison, actually, temporal was a win for us almost across all the dimensions. So we went ahead and we chose temporal. Now, if you really are interested into what exactly did we do at system level, on engineering and technical level, we are actually publishing a blog about this entire refactor on Grab Engineering website by end of this month. So please check it out. For today, I'm not going to go into the technical details. What did the timeline look like? Interesting part, right? And I hope it's not too big. So August, September, that's when we started talking about this, that, you know what, it's time, let's clean our shit up. Starting Q4 2023 till Feb 2024, we worked on the entire design, we learned about the technology, we delivered, and we made sure that whatever we are missing, we bake that back into the code and continue the same thing. Repeat. March is when, so if you really take that time, I mean, it's approximately 4 months that we actually spent on developing this new system, including the Christmas holidays. You test in staging, you test in production, you roll it out to a small population in production to test the functional correctness. You prepare your rollout plan, you prepare your runbooks, prepare monitoring, and voila, you go. By May 2024, we had rolled it out to 100% of our regional markets. We operate across 7 countries in Southeast Asia. We were monitoring the issues that were coming along, and we were fixing them. And it sounds too good to be true. We did not have even a single severity 1 issue in production. Not even a single one, entire big migration. This is the piece that you all are here for. The mistakes that we made so that you don't need to. What did not go well for us? New technology and learning curve. So we picked up temporal. Temporal still is new, as I can see by the raised hands, and it was really new to us and to our company. What was happening? It was taking a lot of time for us to learn this technology. There was a lack of expertise. That means every time you run into an issue, there's no one to look after. There's no one to look up to, right? And there was a lack of community support as well. And it also added a lot of delays to the timeline. So my request here, because we did not do it properly, is that allocate learning buffer and set up dedicated forums. So in this case, what really helped is collaborating directly with temporal team over Slack and dedicated Zoom channels for us to understand the technology better. That's how you do it. And this is my personal favorite. You remember the cherry that we did not have comprehensive test suite? What happened? We sat down, spent hours and hours and hours to make the time investment, created those test suite. What happened? We are humans. We make mistakes. We missed a lot of edge cases in preparing those test suites. What happened in the end? It created a lot of pressure on our manual QAs. They were really actually not just exhausted, but almost on the verge of burnout. How can you handle if your team is going through this? Conduct test war rooms for multiplied testing. And as I mentioned, this is my personal favorite because I strongly believe in this. Once you have a list of test cases and you require manual testing, actually you don't need your QA to conduct those test cases. You just need pair of hands and good devices. And you can bring your entire team into a single room. You can do it once a week, twice a week, completely, depending on how you want. Bring everyone in the team together, including your designer, product, and everyone, and execute those test cases. You get fast results, variety of execution, and quick feedback loop immediately. It really works. What was the other thing that did not go over well? You remember that we said that after Feb 2024, everything will happen on the new system. We had committed to our stakeholders. Everybody was looking forward to this. But because it was a small focus group who redesigned the system, not the entire team was actually fully onboarded to it. They were still missing on how exactly the new system worked. What happened because of that? The new feature rollouts actually got delayed. And it also seeped in a bit of lack of confidence in the team to actually not just develop, but to maintain the new system as well. What we did, and this is something we did plan for, but I think we definitely could have done better, that no migration, no refactor is actually successful if all your team is fully aware of it. So make sure that there is a good onboarding plan and you manage your stakeholders that, hey, this is a new system, this is the velocity at which we're going to deliver because this is a long-term game. Inefficient rollout plan. It really did not go our way. Why? As I mentioned, that Grab operates in 7 countries. So our initial rollout plan actually included that, why don't we roll out, let's say, 1% across all 7 countries? Now, why across all the countries? Because there is a lot of local dynamics play, lot of local situations, the local user experience that actually affects how our product works. But what happened because of that? It actually added a monitoring overhead due to the regional rollout plan. Every time an issue came in, we actually had to decide, oh shit, is this from the new system? Is this user using the product on the new system or on the old system? And there was a lot of debugging and mitigation challenge. Suggestion, less is more. Minimize the number of variables you use in your rollout plan. How did we simplify it? We did it per country. You actually accelerate your rollout per country. You say 5%, 10%, 50%, 100%. Once you're done with one country, that country is actually no longer a variable in your rollout. That's how it works. Low morale and motivation, and this is the last one. Naturally so, what happens when you actually pick few engineers, you put them and say that, you know what, you're going to work on this entire redesign. And especially the technology is new, there is a lack of support, lack of expertise in the team, and lots of timeline delays, lots of overheaded pressure, lots of distress that, okay, why it is getting delayed again and again and again. It actually led to the demotivation in the team. And folks were like, I just want to get it done with. When will this ever be done? It also led to a feeling of isolation in the team and lack of belonging. Now, what can you do about it? Of course, you can support your team all the time, if needed, hands-on, because honestly, sometimes more than the moral support, they really need someone to sit down on their laptop and actually code along with them. They need that task to be done. But more importantly, I want to highlight that celebrate problem solving. I'm not saying milestones. I'm not saying successful rollouts. I'm saying problem solving. Why? Because at heart, we engineers, who are we? We are problem solvers, right? So do not associate your celebrations that, oh, wow, we rolled this out, or wow, we have finished this. No, you're stuck on a problem. You are trying to figure out how to write unit tests in temporal, and you actually figure it out. That's a moment of celebration. That is how you keep the morale high in the team at these times. You said that, Renu, so many things didn't go really your way. Is there anything that went well? I mean, of course, there are many things that went our way. That's why I still have my job, and that's why all the team is still there. The one thing, most importantly all, is the commitment and the continuous problem solving for the team that we actually did. We actually delivered the project on time, and the result, of course, is improved stability and scalability. Engineers were happy. And you know how in married life they say that a happy wife makes a happy life? In team also, right? Like if your engineers are happy, actually your team is happy and you're going to do a lot better. Improved user experience. This is what we work for. This is what the business is for. In terms of incidents, actually we reduced the number of incidents by 90% and a little more. You're like, Renu, but why not 100%? Why only 90%? What happened to that 10%? If you want to know the answer to that question, please meet me in the office hours. There were still few gaps. The last key takeaway from my talk is we made these mistakes, so you don't need to, right? You can make your own mistakes and come and share on the LeadDev platform. It's possible that in engineering, every team, based on the local conditions, how you adapt and how you solve problems. There is no silver bullet. There is no blanket solution. You design your own solution based on the constraints you're working for. And that's my talk. Thank you so much for listening to me.